Welcome everyone you're listening to and perhaps watching Hot Sauce Sports. Also, that's not the name of the show. It's not Sauce for Work. I was about to say, might be talking to Hot Sauce Sports. That also makes no sense. Making far less sense in far fewer words will be none other than Terry Tam. How's it going, Terry?
It's been good, man. I've the last couple of weeks I've been into hockey cards, like buying hockey cards. So I have there's these, right? Like I have a few rookie cards. I got a bunch of random stuff. Like sometimes I don't even know. It's like I get them. It's like this looks nice, so I'll just put it in this package. You know what I mean? And then
makes sense.
I have a binder full of hockey cards too. I've become addicted to this shit. So I feel like Oprah. You get a rookie card. You get a rookie card. Everybody gets a rookie card.
It's far less expensive than what I've been doing. Like everyone else, like you, Terry, I've gone through my place 50 times during quarantine looking for stuff that I have lying around. And I decided not only would I start playing guitar again, but I would start trading them around to acquire more Fender Telecasters. It's a very, very, very expensive hobby. I don't recommend it for anybody. Speaking of people whose taste is far too expensive, how are you doing, Eagle?
I mean, it's only expensive if you can't afford it. So
it's like Michael Jordan doesn't have a gambling problem.
Yeah, exactly. Eagle has a very expensive taste for a guy who can literally live off of candy bars or candies in general.
Straight up.
But he has like a refined palate. He likes a good liqueur. You know, he's a refined human.
Eagle's apartment fits in my bedroom.
Yeah.
Like it's terrifying.
Half of his apartment is like a gaming console, and the other half is like everything else.
Like an underwear.
I mean, I need somewhere to sleep, shit, and eat, right?
So. it's all in one space.
Yeah, he works from his gaming chair. It's like one of those big ones that has like a hawk coming out of it. You know, like one of those.
So it wouldn't be a hawk though. It would be an eagle. Terry.
An eagle.
Got to be consistent, man. You got to be consistent.
Really?
Imagine he gets a hawk.
The only bird. I'm literally named after a fucking bird, and you picked another one. Really?
But imagine Eagle goes and he gets like a custom chair and it's a hawk, and then the guy's like, "Why hawk?" He's like, "Well, I don't know any other animals." And he'd be like, "Isn't your name Eagle?" So, what's your point?
I'll take it. I'll take two. Because you know what they say, 2 hawks makes an eagle. Just like 2 shrimp don't make a cinnamon toast crunch. Speaking of things being in the wrong place today, I don't know if you saw this story.
No,
I'm sure you did, because this is how we introduce topics in Podcastland. What happened was some pictures circulated on the internet. Well, actually, Cinnamon Toast Crunch made the news twice this week because after Virginia lost in the tournament, I think it was Jake Long put out a Twitter poll about cereal, and so Cinnamon Toast Crunch won, and then shortly thereafter, I'm sure because the sales spiked so quickly that they needed to package as much Cinnamon Toast Crunch as quickly as possible. Pictures started circulating on the internet that someone got what looked to be toastified shrimp. They were
toastified shrimp.
Toastified shrimp.
What does toastified shrimp look like?
Well, it's like as if shrimp were in basically Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Sauce is the wrong word.
I didn't like Cinnamon Toast Crunch too much. I like French Toast Crunch. You ever had that?
I've had it, but Terry, I'm going to change your life. I don't even eat this. I don't actually eat cereal. I haven't eaten cereal in, I don't know. There you go. There, Eagles win up the picture.
Oh, all right. I have to switch camera views now.
You see how it's shrimpy? There's 2 shrimp.
Is that an actual? Oh, those are shrimp tails.
They appear to be shrimp tails.
I mean, it's 100% a shrimp tail. Look, there's a tail, and there's a little part that you try and keep at the bottom of the tail. So yes.
But I'm about to change Terry's life, Eagle. I'm about to change it. So we recently discovered a product very similar to Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I don't actually eat cereal. I haven't eaten cereal. I don't know, probably since I was a child. So
because you're a terrorist.
Yeah, pretty much. I've often heard that. But we discovered cinnamon toast churros. We don't eat them in cereal form. We sprinkle them on top of ice cream for nights where we're going to let loose, have some ice cream, a little rocky road, drop some cinnamon toast churros, changes the snack completely. It's a beautiful, beautiful snack.
That sounds absolutely delicious.
It's worth the risk of shrimp, by the way.
What I used to do is 1 o'clock in the morning, watching TV, whatever, my like midnight snack with ice cream would be ice cream. I would sprinkle like a bunch of a chocolate chip on, and just slap a scoop of like Nutella on the side of the bowl. Like I'll just like kind of swipe it off. So I'll take a little scoop of Nutes and then a little bit of the chocolate chip in the ice cream. It's delicioso. And I would also do that with like I would eat like a Vector cereal because I want to be healthy with a scoop of Nutella on that too.
Nice. It's a good way to keep it healthy.
But oat milk, it would be oat milk or almond milk, so it's not that bad for you.
It's far less healthy for me because I'm allergic to hazelnuts. So,
another reason why
it's
you're
healthier
terrorist.
for you than it is for me.
Another reason why you're a terrorist.
This guy was obviously looking forward to having a bowl of cereal. Opens it up, gets some shrimp. It's fucking weird. Have you guys ever got anything really weird in your food? And I'll go first so I can buy you guys some time to think about it. Oh. When I was a kid, I actually stopped going to Le Belle Province for a long time. It's the best.
Another reason why you're a terrorist.
No, here's why. No. I had to go back because it's so incredible. But here's why I had to stop. Was in my youth, I found a Band-Aid in my fries. Band-Aid is the grossest thing. It's way worse than shrimp.
So knowing you didn't call headquarters, HQ, and try to get more money. You just wanted another one for free.
Not even. I just bought fries at another place because I don't want to argue with somebody.
I'm so how non-confrontational are you? I'm so non-confrontational that if I get a Band-Aid, I wouldn't tell the Band-Aid in my fries. I wouldn't tell the people that made it.
It never even occurred to me. I just was still hungry, so I went somewhere else and got fries.
Yeah.
That's all. That's all it was.
For me, it would have been Disney World in late December 2000. So we're talking over 20 years ago. We're at a Italian restaurant on one of the, I think it was the MGM Studios campus, if I'm not mistaken. And I ordered linguinis with seafood, essentially, so all mixed up tomato sauce. And for some reason, mixed in with all the seafood was a piece of metal. And so they were like, we don't know how that got in there. Maybe that fell from something in the kitchen. I don't know what. I'm sorry. We're going to replace your meal and comp the entire thing, essentially. So
and then you get another one. Yeah. Then you get another one, and there's another piece of metal in there. And then they'll be like, well, this one we can't explain. It's because shrimp is made out of metal.
It's part of the recipe.
Yeah.
Be happy it's on your Cinnamon Toast Crunch, essentially.
Exactly.
Oh, Terry, what about you? Anything weird ever happened to your food?
I can't ever. I mean, I'm the type of guy where I'll just eat it. But it's like.
A Band-Aid or metal? You'll eat a Band-Aid or metal?
I've been with a buddy of mine where he found a Band-Aid in his burger at McDonald's, and he just got like a $25 gift card. I'm like, you're dumb. You could have just called headquarters, and they would have made you a millionaire on the spot. Like that's just what McDonald's does. But no, nothing's ever happened to me that I can think of, other than like a hair randomly here and there, which I'll just pick out. Do you like bring it back if there's a piece of hair in there?
I don't return food. I put it aside. And then politely pay for it anyway, without ever telling anybody. Because
what's wrong with what's wrong with the universe? It's not a bad thing to tell them that something is in the food that shouldn't.
Oh, but they will absolutely fuck with your food.
If I put it back because there's a long fucking piece of hair, which I wouldn't.
Oh yeah. What they're gonna do is they're gonna rub it through their ass crack and then just double check it for hairs.
So you think that they would do that if there was a Band-Aid?
I know that they would do it. They don't care. They don't care why you're sending it back. You sent it back. I've worked in the industry long enough to know that that's what happens.
So, I mean, I used to be a busboy and shit, and I wouldn't. I mean, I don't think that would. I know people are proud in the service industry.
Yeah.
In the restaurant industry,
it depends on who you get though and where you're going. Some places,
it depends on the place.
They'll fix it for sure. Like I remember, I was at a place with my friend who's lactose intolerant, and he ordered whatever it was, and he asked, like, "Can you make sure you don't put the milk or the cheese or whatever the whole thing was, the cream, whatever." And so they brought it, and it had the cream on it or whatever. So he's like, well, I said I can't have this. Can you make me another one or whatever? So they're like, sure, no problem. Person comes back less than 2 minutes later with what is essentially the exact same plate. And we know this because he moved one of like the peppers or something in a particular location on the plate. And what they had basically done is just taken it and scraped the cream off and put it back. And I was like,
at least put it under the heater for like 4 minutes, you know?
Yeah,
at least make
crisp
it
out. Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Like pick all the pieces that are touching the cream. Yeah.
Or take it all, throw it back into the pan and, try and reduce the cream a little bit more so they don't see it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the other way to do it. And
then just show them where the bathroom is.
Yeah, absolutely. And say, listen, it's not my fault. I was actually in a situation once with my wife. She ordered a risotto. It was crunchy, and the chef insisted to me that I was wrong, and that's how risotto is prepared. Not
Risotto
knowing what I did for a living, not knowing, all the
Risotto
things
was
about
probably
me.
the one thing that's like, if it's not soggy, it's not good.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
Yeah, but
it's gotta,
there's a level of soggy though. If it's too soggy, it's just mush.
yeah.
Of
Well,
course,
no,
it can't.
so the
It can't
thing
be a
is, like,
pudding.
you can't have liquid. It needs to have absorbed the liquid, right?
Yeah.
And it was not only was it liquid, but it was crunchy. It was like having cinnamon toast crunch. And with that, Terry, it's time for the news. Terry, it's the news.
I was waiting a little bit because I figured you didn't have your headset on yet.
I could hear it because I'm super deaf, so I have my headset super loud all the time. We are still fighting technology all these months into.
You are still fighting technology.
But I don't know what to do. I literally can't use my laptop that only has Skype installed on it. It's only used for this podcast, and yet it still can't perform. I feel like Eagle on date night. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Have you guys been watching the tournament?
I have been watching the tournament. I've also been doing my mini bets on the tournament.
I had Illinois winning it all. I'm very upset.
I had Illinois in the Final Four. We talked.
I had
about
Ohio State in the finals.
Eagle, was I the reason that you put Illinois winning the championship? Because I was so high on them last show.
I had it picked ahead of time and everything. I actually have Illinois beating Michigan in the finals, so clearly one of those isn't going to happen. Who knows about the other one?
Well, I have Gonzaga beating Villanova. So
I don't even know who I have in the finals.
I'm still alive.
As soon as Ohio State lost and Colgate, because I had Colgate and Georgetown. As soon as Colgate and Georgetown lost, I was like, I'm not even going to look at my bracket. There's no point because I had them both going to the Elite Eight.
You weren't on the show last week. We were all saying Georgetown's bad. don't fall for Georgetown.
No. I don't know anything about college basketball. So when I look at teams that I've known that have done good recently. I'll always take like the number 12 seed. I'll always have them win in the first round. I know how to win.
I always pick 112 seed to beat a 5 seed. And I always pick the wrong one. There's always one that does it, and I never have the right one.
I've won 2 March Madness brackets, and I know nothing about college basketball because I just play the numbers. Like I try to get as many low seeds as possible to win, and if I luck out, I luck out, and it's $20 and whatever. One year I won $3,000. I didn't even know until I got an email saying these are the 4 winners.
$3,000.
No, but I got an email saying, "Oh, we're gonna pay out the winners this week," and then I'm like, "Okay," but I thought I had lost. So then I checked the email, and there was only 4 people tagged. And then I went into the pool, and I see that I finished second, so I got $3,000. And I was the only person that didn't even pick the winner. I had so many low seeds that I won. It was like 4 years ago. It was like when there was like 6 first round, 6 upsets in the first round, and I won because of that, just because of the first round, basically.
My sister-in-law won her bracket last year with a whole bunch of people who actually follow college basketball by picking which logo she liked best in the matchups.
There it is.
That's how random it is. Absolutely. Thus proving sports analysis is all bullshit. Welcome to the show, by the way. For sports analysis, please like and subscribe. You won't get better sports analysis than you hear here because, of course, everything we do is based on how much we like logos.
Absolutely nothing.
Just like, for example, like if you want to pick out barbecue sauce, you choose it by the best logo ever, which is, of course, Mike's Barbecue Rub.
Naturally.
Minus 10% off.
Speaking of which, Mike's BBQ Rub is doing a golf tournament May 29th at Golf Oasis in Lachute. We will have a team. We most likely be having 2 teams, 2 foursomes. And I'm speaking with James D'Andrea of D'Andrea Productions to record us while we play. And we can do it as a content piece. Yeah. So it's either going to be me, you, and Duke. Eagle, you going to play? Because I remember you played golf as a kid.
I haven't played golf in years, though, so I might just
even better.
You all.
So you'll lose all the bets.
Which means you'll probably still be better than me, Peas, and Duke.
I want to do anything possible to get Terry. I want you and Duke in the same card, and we'll set up a lipstick mic and just film you guys the entire time. It's the best content ever.
You know what? That's a good idea. We put like a camera, GoPro in the cart. Yeah, that's actually a good idea.
Last time, with no camera there, you almost actually killed him. Like you almost murdered him on the spot.
I think I was capable of murder that day. I was late.
Like I was like an hour late, and you still almost killed Duke instead of me. That's how bad he was.
I don't understand how you were late that day because
I had a car issue.
You live like 4 minutes away. Yeah, I know. You always have a car issue.
Well, the battery was dead. I couldn't get there.
The thing I need to drive wasn't working.
And then I went to I go to the mechanic. The mechanic is awesome but super sketchy.
Yeah,
and I kept
which
asking
are the
like,
best?
so
The best kinds of mechanic are awesome but sketchy.
yeah. And he's like, I was like, so when's it gonna be ready? He's like, no worry, anytime. Have a seat. How's your dad? I'm like, I can't have a seat. It's the middle of the pandemic. I just need you to get my car running. It's just a battery. Like, show me where they are. Just show me where. And he's like, oh, don't worry. I just have to order it. I'm like, order it. You said it'd be ready today. It was a disaster. It was just a disaster of a day. But still a good time to have out. Looking forward to that tournament, Terry. It'll be a good time, especially if you're paired with Duke. What are your favorite moments of the tournament, though, so far?
Honestly, I like some certain storylines, like some Cinderella stories, like Loyola Chicago was nice to watch. Oral Roberts, obviously. I think my favorite story is like you see like the fans and stuff like that, the limited amount of fans like doing dances and stuff. Like there's that's the part about March Madness that I like. But the best story is by far the Sister Jean lady. I mean, every year she just shocks me. Like I just
like
love how she's
now.
She's still there. Like she's just like the best human in the world. You know what I mean?
We'll get to Sister Jean in a sec. I was gonna say, like you mentioned Oral Roberts. Every time they beat a team, I think to myself, like, how do you not as a team have T-shirts that say Oral Roberts, fuck him in the mouth?
Or like we give oral.
Yeah, that too. Either way.
Yeah.
We're sex positive. We're sex positive here on the show.
Yeah.
Do what you gotta do. So we are I think 2 wins away from getting Krutwig of Loyola Chicago. The dude who basically looks like if Terry was a 50-year-old alcoholic playing against Sister Jean. Krutwig, of course, playing for Loyola Chicago. Playing for Oral Roberts, and Sister Jean playing for. There we go.
Krutwig plays for Loyola, no?
Oh, okay. So no, yes, sorry, my mistake. So we are 2 rounds away from them advancing to the Final Four.
Yeah.
Like, how can you not be in love with this team, given that they have both parts of it? They have Krutwig, they have you. Again, just a YMCA athlete paired with Sister Jean.
Krutwig looks like he's gonna like that jersey that he's wearing. Let's say they win, the jersey that he's wearing, it's gonna be like hanging off the back of his pickup truck for the entire until he basically dies. Like that's basically what it is. They're gonna be like, oh, what's that jersey? Oh, I won this tournament when I was in college. What college was that? Loyola Chicago. Oh, which tournament? I don't know. It was like in March. That's the type of guy Krutwig is, and he has no idea. While he's like shoveling dead deer off a road or something.
He
like
also
that.
looks great in a suit. Look at this guy.
What up?
He's also 46 years old. Look at the suit. It's only a suit like middle-aged men wear.
But that's what I'm saying is that Krutwig is like the ultimate throwback. He looks like a guy who got the job at a bank because of he won a national championship. You know what I mean? Or he became a real estate agent because he won a national championship. It's not because he wanted to do it. And then like 3 years later, he'll open a landscaping company, then hang his jersey on the back of his pickup truck. That's the story of Krutwig from now until he dies.
He also looks like the guy who works at a bowling alley but secretly has the pass to the other universe.
Yeah, he looks like that too. He also looks like the guy who has like the record of his like hometown of eating like the most candies or like the most pies or something like that. He looks like a guy who's like a hero in his like little community, his little hometown.
And at the same time, he's also won like 100,000 basketball games. So there's also that.
There's also that. But he has no idea how important those are because he's such a minimalist that he just needs his pickup truck.
Just pickup truck and a mustache. That's all you need. That's all. He's like he's a Jesus and a couple of beers and a whiskey away from a country song.
Exactly.
That's all he needs. That's all he needs. Terry, you were here for a discussion with Deshaun Watson. We got into it pretty heavy last week. We just want to get your thoughts, and we'll update sort of the audience about what's going on. Now, 16 lawsuits have been filed against Deshaun Watson. His lawyer has responded by saying that these, of course, are ludicrous and ridiculous. We said last week the thing that always bothers me in this situation is that the way the lawyers respond to it is always that they attack the people who are the victims because that's how you get sort of sympathy on your side, and that's just what you do as a defense lawyer. And so the thing is, if he's right, then sure, that's great. But if he's wrong, that means that you just made it so much harder for other women to come forward. That said, details are being leaked. And they're not looking great for Deshaun Watson, the guy who we thought would lead a lot of our shows with his free agency, or not even free agency, like his sort of trade agency. Let's call it a thing. But now it's become a legal issue.
I can't. I mean, it's hard for me to comment on this because we don't know all the facts. But like when it comes out to 16 lawsuits, it's like, okay, what's really going on here? Is there actually something there? And I'm more inclined to believe that yes, there is actually something there. It's too easy for a lawyer of the defendant to say, oh yeah, they're just trying to screw him over. It's all bullshit. And like you said, Pease, this stops other women from coming forward if the number is bigger than 16. Like, it's crazy to me. Why is it? I don't know. I can't understand why it's crazy. Is it why it's crazier to me that an athlete is doing this, or is that he thinks that he's getting away with it while he's doing these things? You know, and I don't want to say that Deshaun Watson's guilty because we don't know all the facts yet. But
we don't.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. That's all it is.
The thing that has me concerned is as you get more and more alleged victims, my thing is at one point with all these cases going to court, and you have to think there's a conspiracy with all these women and potentially the Texans, which also doesn't make sense because why would you decrease his value and at the same time make him feel like he doesn't want to stay if he figures out there's a conspiracy? But then let's put all that aside. But just all these women, there's not one woman who this lawyer approached and, let's say, for example, he says, here's this plot, you're going to make all this money. There's not one of these women who's like, actually, I'm not okay with that. And then she goes to press and says, hey, by the way, this isn't a legit lawsuit. Don't you think that someone would have cracked at some point, that someone's morality would have been above getting funded? Because I know, for example, if someone came to me personally and said, hey, Pease, here's this fake lawsuit. If you do it, you're going to make millions of dollars. would have not been okay with it. And B, when I saw it get to the point that it's at now, I would have come out saying, hey, actually, this is not a real thing. This is drummed up. This is bullshit. So that's what has me doubting the situation, and no one speaks on the other side of this.
But it's also not random women either, right? Like all of them he has had interaction with. So you have to specifically target women that he's had massage sessions with, that to then say,
are they all massage
therapists?
Running with?
Yes.
They're all massage therapists?
Yeah, he seems to have been treating, if this is true, he was treating massage therapists as like,
almost like a kink.
A buffet or like a prostitution service, right?
So he would hit on them and he would like touch them inappropriately and then they would say no, or...
Well, in one case, he like locked the door behind him and sort of made it apparent that he was, being imposing. And
this is what you're here for. Like what kind of like Kobe Bryant was accused for.
Yeah.
I don't know.
With
man.
a lot, again, just a lot of different accusers.
At the beginning, like I said, when it was one, okay, maybe this has a little bit of.
And then you hear the name of his lawyer. You're like,
on it. The lawyer, he's next door neighbors with one of the owners. Yeah, there's a little bit of like fishiness here.
All good,
and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh fuck. Okay, yeah, no, this is.
Yeah, right.
But if you had to get a name for like a greasy,
Tony,
like
Tony Busby.
Style, yeah, like that's the name you. It's like if there was an EA game for lawyers, for crappy lawyers, like that's one of the auto-generated names. It's like a 7th-round draft pick of cheesy lawyers, right? Like,
yeah, Saul Goodman is like the number one, like the first round
draft pick.
And Tony Busby is like, it kind of creeps in like the 3rd, 4th round. Like Tony Busby is like a good name.
Like you change the name because it's too obvious. Like it's like having a place kicker whose name is Kickerton. Like it's too on the nose. It's too on the nose.
Kicker man. The Jewish guy, Edward Kickerman.
Obviously, we're gonna get more information as it comes out, but this is just a strange situation from the beginning. Like you never see a quarterback of this talent at his age try and make himself available, try and force himself out of town, especially after he just signed a contract extension. Yeah. And then the next thing is, with the next thing, like, and I'm looking at this from purely the business part of this. I can imagine women who were victimized, who see his name in the news, see that he's trying to get a new contract and all over the place, and is feeling absolutely tormented by this. Like on the Deshaun Watson side of this, don't you think, if you're actually guilty, don't you think that this would have happened if you sort of put your name out there? Like, does he legitimately, if he absolutely did this, do you think there's a possibility that he thinks that he did nothing wrong and he sort of deserves everything he's gotten? Like, is it the two sides of the story so far apart?
So, I mean, we haven't heard any stories of him actually, like, physically forcing himself on somebody, right? So I think it's all, like...
Some of the accusations are pretty out there, so...
I think that in his head, and this is the problem with most men, is that they think that it's like, you try once, they say no, you try a second time, they say no, you try a third time, when they say no, you're like, okay. But those 2 times that you tried, they said no, that's the part we're talking about. I think that that's what Deshaun Watson thinks. He's just like, oh, I was just hitting on her. She said no, and I let her go, but not realizing the damage that he had done before. It's not like he's eagle size, The guy's like 6'4", 220 pounds. Like he's a big dude, and he's imposing, and he has a big name, and he's an important person. And it's just, it's more intimidating than anything else. And I think that for the fact that we had women coming out and actually talking is great, and I want to encourage those people that were affected to speak up. It always brings me back to this documentary that I saw. Well, it's a show that I saw on Netflix called Unbelievable. I don't know if you guys saw it. No. And it's about it starts off with a girl, and she gets raped in her apartment, and then the cops basically don't believe her. They don't believe her because of X, Y, Z reason. Like, they're just like, okay, did you imagine this? Like, are you sure? And like all these weird things, And then she ended up having to pay a fine because she falsely accused somebody of doing it, because she wasted the cops' time, because the cops ended up convincing her to say that she didn't get raped. And eventually it leads to a serial rapist that goes through another like 10 women, and she wasn't believed, and that was the whole thing, right? So it gets to a point where you just don't believe one, and then you can hurt all of them, and that's what we're getting to now. Let's wait till the details come out, and then we'll be fine from there. I think.
Yeah, and I think one thing we're going to see in the future is the NFL will start to, kind of like with the rookie symposium, working with players to try and get them not to blow all their money. I think, learning how to treat women and stuff like that, because especially a lot of these guys coming from a college campus where they got basically everything handed to them. A lot of them, we've seen cases like in the case of Darius Geis, where his rape was covered up by people who worked at the school, or even in cases of coaches, and of course what happened at Penn State was awful. I think we're going to see part of the involvement with the at the rookie symposium is to be like, okay, well, not only are we going to talk to you about your finances, but we're going to talk to you about normal human interactions and the way you need to behave in society, and I think that's important. I think that's part of the education that they're lacking just by having sort of the campus at their fingertips.
I was actually going to have a similar point just in terms of what the NFL is going to do in the whole situation. Like, I'm going to pivot to the business side of it. If you're the Texans, whether he's guilty or not of what's happened, there's a precedent of Ben Roethlisberger and Ezekiel Elliott being investigated for similar incidents, and they get a 6-game suspension or they're withdrawn from the league, again, just during the investigation period, right? So for the first 6 games, Texans aren't going to have a quarterback. So even if Deshaun Watson was holding out, well, now they're not going to have him anyways, right? So what do you do? Do you sign someone? Do you bring in your backup? Are you already looking to make a move?
Well, they signed Finley. They signed Finley from the Bengals. So
that's the point.
I think that they have to go quarterback because they don't know the future of Deshaun Watson does not belong with the Texans. You know what I mean? Regardless of the situation, I think that if all these allegations, whatever happens to the allegations, if there's hush money or whatever, I think the Texans would do themselves and the organization a service, like everybody, their fans, everybody a service by not signing Deshaun Watson just because of these allegations. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen, but at the end of the day, he doesn't want to be there anyway. So they shouldn't even think about him as an option going forward.
That said, the Texans are currently the team CEO is an evangelist who convinced the team owner that he was the best candidate that could be CEO of the organization. A guy who is largely hated by every player on the team, and ex-players of the team, by the way, as well. We see this sometimes in sports where ex-players and team staff get into it. A situation arose this week. with some comments made by Steve Kerr on the Ringer podcast. I couldn't get a succinct clip, so I'll explain what he said. He said that the last championship run where they lost to Toronto was less fun than last season where they only won 15 games. Now, Drew Schiller put out a tweet, and the way he framed the tweet, and the tweet doesn't say anything different from what Steve Kerr is saying, but I could understand Steve's reaction, which we'll also listen to in a second. His tweet said something to the effect of, Steve Kerr says he preferred winning 15 games to the last season with Kevin Durant. He's singled out Kevin Durant, where Steve Kerr did not single out Kevin Durant. And here is the response.
This is hilarious. Just straight up.
Yeah. So, but I had a video clip of his video response, but Steve Kerr's response to it. He goes, I guess I put the wrong.
Yep, clearly.
Yeah, it's not in there.
So Steve Kerr actually went off on him, and Steve Kerr's never really gone off on media guys before. He's been kind of a media darling, and he's kind of a player's coach, right? So people generally like him. But yeah, he actually went off on this because he felt he was poorly represented. But so now I've given you sort of the context as I've understood it. Let me know what you think about it, Terry.
I mean, listen, I think what Steve Kerr, all he was saying was that last year we didn't have any pressure. Like, we kind of knew the season that we're going into, so we just had fun with it. Like, we won 15 games, boo-hoo. Like, we've won 3 championships, you know what I mean, as a unit. So it's, I think it's crazy, but it's typical. It's typical journalism where
it's not typical journalism.
Not typical journalism. It's typical. It's poor journalism, but it's typical. You see it a lot more often than you should. Where you kind of change it. It's like, where last 2 years ago he had Kevin Durant. That's the outlier. So why did he not like that team as opposed to last year's team? You know what I mean? Like, there's all that, and it's just clickbait. That's all it is. And I know
this is a clip,
Steve
right?
Kerr's actual reaction. Yeah, it's perfect. That's the one. Thank you.
No, I had
And now it's buffering.
I heard it. I heard it before.
I know.
Every time. I know.
Every time. Let's try this again, shall we?
You played it while I was talking before.
I know.
Fucking technology. I blame Peace's computer.
Raymond alerted me
Even
to
though it's not
something.
on my
I
computer.
did a podcast a few nights ago with Logan Murdoch, and I mentioned during the podcast that last season, in which we had the worst record in the league, was more enjoyable from a coaching standpoint than the previous season when we lost in the finals. And the context was basically that after the 5-year run that we were on, that 5th year was just an absolute bear. It was the stress level, 2 season-ending injuries during the finals. DeMarcus also had a serious injury that took him out of the playoffs for 6 weeks. We had all kinds of stress. The whole point of the conversation was the stress of the 5-year run compared to coaching a team of young guys that doesn't win many games, but is eager to learn. And I made the comment sort of offhanded that last year was more enjoyable than that previous season. And that was it. That was my comment. Drew Schiller decided to tweet today that Steve Kerr said he enjoyed last season more than Kevin Durant's last year with the Warriors. Okay. So I want to make this extremely clear. If you want to actually get the story accurate, I encourage you to listen to the podcast before we sort of take this story into offshoots and use that as my quote, because that is the furthest thing from the truth. It was a terribly unfair shot, completely taking something out of context to the point where people are going to read it and think that that was my quote. And you guys have all been very fair to me over the years, and I rarely have any complaints. I know that I am fair game for criticism anytime we play a game. I'm going to make bad decisions that you can criticize. I'm going to do plenty of things that you can criticize, and I deserve it. But to take that comment and put it in,
And there's a part 2.
Yeah, which is
and
fine.
send it
I
out
mean, we
into
get the
universe
vibe of
was
what he's
so irresponsible and damaging, and I'm angry. And I know what's going to happen. I know this is going to be taken out onto the morning shows, and people are going to be talking about it, and they're going to use
He's talking too much.
what they think is a
Like-
quote that is actually.
The problem with Steve Kerr is that he needs people's approval, and he's always been like that. He needs,
Well,
like you
he's
said
always,
before,
had it.
yeah,
like,
he's a player.
he never
he's a
lost as a
coach,
player, right?
Everybody
Like-
likes him.
As a player, he played for two great organizations. He played for the Bulls. He played for the San Antonio Spurs, right? Then, as a coach, Mark Jackson, for some reason, doesn't realize having Steph Curry and Klay Thompson on the court at the same time is awesome. And he doesn't get to keep his job. Steve Kerr takes his place and does one thing. He just says, hey, these are two of the greatest shooters of all time. Let's put them on the court at the same time. And basically the team is instantly awesome, instantly a contender. They then go on to win 3 championships. They do the last one with Kevin Durant. I think the way I heard the comments, and I had already heard the podcast before this came out, I kind of giggled. I'm like, yeah, because Kevin Durant is a miserable guy. But that's like, whatever. Like, I wouldn't actually report that. I think what it is that the way I understood it is winning is nice. It's also not everything. You need to enjoy the environment. We've seen it all the time, Terry, with guys who leave the Patriots who say, yeah, we won, but I didn't like going to work every day. And it's not, that environment's not for everybody. Similarly, the environment with, let's say, a guy like Draymond Green who's going to light a fire under your ass, that's not for everyone.
Enoch Mwamba was on Weekly Sauce last week, and he told us a lot of people are able to stay in the NFL, and because he played a year with the Colts, and he's like, a lot of people are able to stay in the NFL and make millions or whatever, but the pressure is just too much, and they can't handle it, and they go to the CFL because there's less pressure. They make enough money, and they're gone. You know what I mean? So it's like some people don't want that pressure and that feedback all the time, being negative, expectations, all this shit. And the thing about Kerr is that he's always lived up to this expectation. So now as soon as somebody brings him back down, he's like, hey, no, this is what really happened. Like, Steve Kerr doesn't have to justify himself. He's like known around the league as one of like the nicest guys.
Yeah.
He's kind of like it's almost like he's the nerd of the coaches. You know what I mean? Like, there's that famous video of
He's
Chris
the
Paul.
young Greg Popovich. Like,
Yeah.
Everyone loves Greg Popovich, right? Same
Yeah,
thing.
there's the video of Chris Paul looking at him and laughing, and then as soon as Steve Kerr turns around, he's like, "Fuck you!" Like, it's just like he's the guy that wants to be everybody's friend, but not everybody kind of is like they like him, but that's pretty much it. But he wants people's approval, and he shouldn't ask for it. The guy's already accomplished so much in his career.
Well, and the thing is that I think Kerr was trying to say, like, the environment is not like, not every environment works for everyone. Steve Kerr got punched in the face by Michael Jordan, famously, right? Like, we all saw The Last Dance. Like, that's a famous story. Even before The Last Dance came out, everyone knew that. But Steve Kerr was the kind of competitor that didn't matter to him. That's, you know what?
He's like, I deserved it.
MJ was right. I deserved it. I got to make a shot, and that's it. And lo and behold, he ends up making a huge shot for the Bulls down the stretch. But I give credit to him, saying he's a guy who took a punch in the face. Who's not like, everyone should be like me and should deal with teammates that way. He's like, yeah, it just didn't work out, and in the end, and it wasn't a good environment. Like, so I give him kudos. I also want to bring up 2 tweets by Bomani Jones of ESPN. I love Bomani Jones. I think he's one of the smartest guys in sports media. He had two posts about Drew Schiller, who's the guy who wrote the tweet. Drew Schiller writes for a Warriors blog, and I want you to rate them 1 to 10 on his call out of Drew Schiller. Moani says, I called you on the phone because of how you misrepresented me, and you were similarly apologetic. So when are you going to stop doing it?
8.
8, okay. And now
I like it. I like it because it's straight to the point. He references a conversation that he had, an experience that he had with the same person. He could have had maybe more of a zinger at the end, but so that's why I'm getting it. If he had the zinger, it would be a 10, but that was an 8.
Let's see if he measures up. Drew posts wild stuff, gets called out, is overwhelmingly nice in apology, then does it about someone else. Buddy's going to have to change his whole steez if he means any of what he says after the fact.
I'm going to give this additional 8.5 because he added the word steez. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So 8.5. That was a good one.
It's a half a point. It's half a point. Easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
We got no guest today. We will have someone on next week. We had someone fall through, unfortunately, last minute. Hopefully it's someone who's played in the NCAA, and we want to talk to him about March Madness. So hopefully I can get him on for next week. If not, we'll get someone else. We got guests lined up anyway.
In the meantime, we got some rapid fire for everyone. Before we do that, just a reminder, like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah,
to
I was going to say that before you cut me off a rapid fire, Eagle. Like, subscribe, do all those things. Follow Eagle home. Take him home in a handbag.
Our first rapid fire, crackdown. Jeff Passan, has reported that the MLB will be cracking down on foreign substances by increasing monitoring with the compliance officers, inspections, and spin rate analysis on baseballs. Is this the end of the drug era of MLB as we know it?
Listen, I'm going to tell you this. As a guy who's done it, and a guy who's enjoyed it, and a guy who's like, if you're on it, playing baseball, it's okay. They're going to find a way.
So what you mean by on it, you mean on spin rate?
On the sauce.
Yeah, I know. It was
also, but
on spin rate.
Where do we limit this foreign, foreign substances? Are we talking about food? I mean, because like there's a lot of Dominicans in the league. They want to bring some mamajuana in, get your libido going. I mean, is that considered a foreign substance? Are they allowed using that? I mean, I don't know.
I will say, if you have a mamajuana and your erection lasts more than 4 hours, you will get a high five by the doctors.
And call please.
Absolutely, call me. Bang! I'll be like, bro, that's awesome.
Dude,
I feel like MLB always misses the point where, like, look, man, I get it. Drugs are bad for people, but I kind of love the monsters. Like, the best times of baseball have always been with cheating. So,
the
like,
way I see it is that if it's a contact sport, there shouldn't be any steroid allowing. So like combat sports, football, hockey, basketball to a certain extent, soccer, go ahead, baseball, go ahead. Like it only enhances.
But here's my question. But tell me, why does it only matter in baseball? Because name the last NFL player suspended for steroids. Name the last basketball player suspended for steroids. Name the last hockey player suspended for steroids.
The only football player I can think of that was suspended by steroids, and I'm drawing on his name. Merriweather.
Okay, that's still. I was going.
How long ago was that?
They're both about a decade old. They're both
coaching
Josh
in the league,
if I'm not
but
mistaken.
that's a different reason. So.
Yeah, that's
Gordon
the dude has
got suspended for like the good kind of drugs.
Yeah.
The one that Pease is going to be on in about 35 minutes.
18 seconds. That's when it kicks in.
Next, mic'd up. We all know that referees have a little bit of bias when it comes to officiating, but this one takes the cake. In referee team, Tim Peel will no longer be working NHL games for this.
It wasn't much, but I wanted to get a fucking penalty against Nashville early in the.
And there we go.
So I'm defending Tim Peel like to the fucking. This is the way it works in hockey, okay? And a lot of hockey guys out there, and they'll most likely agree with me. I'm not for a ref giving an additional penalty to a team for no fucking reason, but I am for refs controlling the game. If the game before, and a lot of these teams play each other 9 times, okay? They're gonna play each other 9 times. This is probably the 5th meeting that these teams have played. So it's Nashville against Carolina. I don't remember who it is, but anyway, the team is Nashville. So, if the game before the team is hacking, they're using their sticks a lot, whatever. The ref needs to immediately.
It was Detroit,
by the way. Detroit. Okay, the ref needs to immediately come out and control the game. So he calls a hacking penalty really early. He's like, I want to call Nashville early because last game they were going all over the place. So this way we can control what's going on and we can set the tone for the game. I'm really okay with this. The only his problem is that he got caught on the mic.
Yeah, and you have to do it, right? As the NHL, you have to save face. You have to be, our referees are impartial, blah, blah, blah. But behind the scenes, they're being coached to do exactly that.
If he was mic'd up longer, if we can hear the rest, you should hear what coaches and refs say to each other, and you'll be shocked at the shit that they tell each other.
This is, to me, what the NHL did as a reaction is the makeup call of makeup calls. So, like, if you have an issue with what happened, you're actually not addressing the issue. You're just suspending the one guy who's doing the thing that everyone else is doing. You're basically penalizing one guy to set the tone. It's exactly what he did. I saw it and I instantly laughed because I know, Terry, it's not just in hockey. We know in basketball, it'll last 2 minutes of the game. It's not ref the same way. The NFL is definitely not ref the same way in the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter than it is the beginning of the game. It's just the way it is. the thing I found funny is Peel was set to retire at the end of the season at 53 years old. Guaranteed, it's just an early retirement package. The dude just gets some extra vacation time. High five to Tim Peel.
Good for Tim Peel.
Next, prime time. The Washington football team has recently put out some news that they might keep their current name of the WFT as a permanent item. They're still evaluating other names. I don't think they've confirmed that they're keeping it, but they said it's still on their radar.
They said it's indefinite.
Yes. Because they're still looking for a new name, if that. This also happens on the heels of Dan Snyder making a move to buy out the minority ownership of the Washington football team with a small loan of $450 million from the NFL Finance Committee.
That's unbelievable. So he's going to pay for the rest of the ownership by using a fund that he doesn't own.
Yep.
Well, Terry, we had a conversation with someone on this podcast about just how you do that, because if you remember, that's how David Sampson was able to get the Marlins with a 10-year interest-free loan, which we talked about in our interview with David Sampson. These kind of things happen. Every time I see WFT, by the way, I always think it's what the fuck. My brain just does it automatically. It's WTF. But in the end, it's not going to matter. Dan Snyder's consolidating, I imagine, because Jeff Bezos is going to come in, make an offer, make everyone super rich, and Dan Snyder is going to be the first of many to profit off of this, and they will be renamed the Washington Primes.
I just had this weird image. You said Steve Bezos, and then I immediately went Steve Wilkos. How much do Steve Wilkos and Jeff Bezos look like each other?
So I have a confession to make. I did that in my brain before I said Jeff Bezos. I don't know why. I did that 1,000%. 1,000%. That's why I went Steve. It's the weirdest thing.
Steve Wilkos and Jeff Bezos separated at birth.
Yeah, evil twins. They're both evil.
Just dance. Shortly after the Miami Dolphins traded for Isaiah Wilson, who was a first-round pick last year, the team cut him after a video surfaced of him hitting a vape and dancing on a car. And so he posted a video of which he then responds to what's going on, essentially. Which is, let's just say, this is not PG.
My work ethic suck. My work ethic is trash. I'm so lazy. Ooh, how didn't they see my Twitter name was lazy? Bitch! Been working a 8 to 6 since I was 14, pussy. And then when I started trying to tap myself in, bitch, I ain't doing light. You know what? I want y'all niggas to do 4 drugs every day for the rest of your fucking life. And then come talk to me. My work.
What was the video of the drugs?
It's gone by now.
That's a whole other video.
What? So, what is he trying to say? That he works hard?
Yeah.
I
work hard, play hard.
I think the dude's got some stuff going on, and I don't think it's the Dolphins' responsibility. It's not the Titans' responsibility because he's not an employee for either organization anymore. That said, it seems, look, no one acts this way out of sheer irresponsibility, right? Like, if you're an irresponsible person and you screwed up one job, you're going to try at least at the beginning at your next job. He missed team meetings on, what's it called? On, not Skype, because we're on Skype, but the other one. With the Zoom, he missed those teleconferencing meetings. He missed his physical. He missed a mandatory.
So who's he going to play for?
You
You think the Cowboys are going to pick him up, or the Bengals?
Probably. I mean, look, I think the guy's talented. I think he's got a lot going on. I think something has to be done for players that are obviously suffering from whether it's addiction. I don't know if that's the case here, or mental health issues. I don't know whose responsibility it is, Terry, but I think someone needs to step up because I know I tend to be the apologist in this, but he doesn't strike me. And I see that video. I see a dude, upset about what happened. He's kind of crying. He's saying people don't understand him, but there are people who understand. There are people who are professionals who understand, and it's clear he's not getting the help he needs. So I don't know. I have no solution. I don't know who can help him because I don't think it's this team's responsibility, but I think someone should help players in that kind of situation. I just don't know who.
Miami Dolphins traded for him.
They traded him, but it was like a 7th round pick. Like it was.
Oh, okay. I thought it was
free, basically.
Okay, yeah, it's just a salary dump, basically.
Yeah.
For the Titans. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck, because I'm like, I thought he played for the Titans. I was 100%. It's the guy that went to
Yeah, he was
Georgia,
the first
right?
round pick last season for the Titans.
It's the guy that went to Georgia, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's what okay. I knew I was talking about the same guy, but I was like, how come he played for the Dolphins?
I
Right.
remember him. I saw him play in college, Terry. I saw him mow down a dude at Georgia Tech who was half his size, and like the guy was just a phenom. But it's clear he's got other stuff going on.
Next, crystal clear. Cubs minor league prospect Jesus Camargo was pulled over after seen speeding and drifting between lanes, and it turns out he was carrying 21 pounds of meth in his baseball bag.
Call Corey. Corey Kennedy. Call because Corey Kennedy was involved with the young guys, right? Like
He
farm
works for
system?
the minor league system. Yeah,
Yeah, the farm system.
he was on our show.
Yeah, he would know who Jesus Camargo is, right?
But weren't they supposed to send the car to pick him up? Like, why is he driving?
Why do you have meth?
Yeah, that's the bigger question, Eagle.
Why meth? Why? Like, if it was cocaine, I'd be like, oh fuck, cocaine. Why meth?
It's just like you throw in a party and someone shows up like 15 minutes late. You're not like, why are you late? You're like, why do you have 21 pounds of meth?
Oh man,
Is
this
the question.
guy's in bad with some people, and they're like, okay, we need you to bring this here so you can get the money to give to me because your family is gonna die. Like I think that's what's happening here.
Yeah, because 21 pounds is a lot. Like I've checked in bags regularly for flights that weigh a lot less than 21 pounds. So that's a ton of meth. It's a ton of meth.
It's 21
much
pounds
meth.
of meth. 21 pounds, not a ton. But thanks.
New math, bro. New math.
And last topic for today, get in loser, we're getting chicken nuggets. A Tennessee woman, which
Nuggets.
We
before I
get in
into this
chicken
story,
nuggies. It's an internet thing. You can't screw up the meme, otherwise it's not
Yeah.
the meme.
We getting chicken nuggies. I'm sorry.
There you
So
go.
before I read the rest of this, is Tennessee the new Florida in that they leak police reports?
No, Florida's always gonna Florida.
Okay,
Yeah.
Florida
this
will
says
somehow
a Tennessee
one-up
woman, and I
Tennessee.
read another article today about a Tennessee woman, so I'm like, something's going on here.
They're
Assaulted
moving.
her girlfriend before biting a police officer due to a dispute about chicken nuggets.
What's a
There's
dispute?
no clip.
Are
It's
they
just,
good
that's
or
just what
not?
happened.
So
I mean,
that's my question: is what do you think the dispute is, Terry? If you
Yeah.
read this, like, what's something about chicken nuggets? Let's say you and I are in a situation. You're gonna get so mad at me about chicken nuggets, you're gonna end up biting a police officer.
You took it.
What's the thing? What does it for you?
You took my chicken nuggets. The police officer took my chicken nuggets. That would be the only reason why I would bite a police officer is if you took my chicken nuggets.
I mean, if it was wings and you left me with all flats, you ate all the drumettes. That's gonna do it for me. That's
Oh,
I'm
you're
gonna
a
set
drum
off.
guy.
I'm a drumette guy. 100%.
Oh, because I take I pinch and I go and it comes
I
right
think we
out.
discussed on the show. I take the drums, I crack the cartilage in a circle, and then slide the meat off into my mouth. That's how I do it. I think to answer your question, Eagle, I think the answer to the Florida man is the Tennessee woman.
And there we go. That's how we
Perfect
wrap
marriage.
this show, boys.
Remember to watch, like, subscribe. We appreciate anyone who does, and for those of you who haven't done it yet, please do, because advertising is how we get paid. I prefer to do it another way. I'd like to live in the Wild West, steal some horses, sell some stolen horses. That's how we would make money. Instead, we need to rely on advertising. So please subscribe. We'll get more advertisers. We'll produce more content. We're already producing so much. We love you so much at Hot Sauce Sports. Thank you, Terry, for everything you've done. Thank you, Eagle, for everything you've done. And thank you all for letting me be myself.
You've been listening to Hot Sauce Sports.